Welcome to the Friday, July 3rd edition of the SVG-TV News and Sports. My name is Khalil Kato with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves today assumed chairmanship of CARICOM with the hope of creating an improved working relationship among member countries, as well as improving the image of small island states internationally. PM Gonsalves, who takes over from Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, will be the chair for the 15-member grouping for the next 6 months. The new chair noted the difficulties the Caribbean is currently facing, including the COVID-19 pandemic.
Closely with one another, with the Secretariat and the Bureau and other colleague heads of state and government over the next 6 months, which portends to be extremely activist and vital for our community and its people, our regional family. Immediately, colleagues, on the agenda continues to be the challenge of COVID-19 and its 4 interconnected dimensions of health, the economy, society, and security. The coordination of the delivery of a sufficiency of regional air transport in quality, affordability, safety, and sustainability.
PM Gonsalves thanked outgoing chair Mia Mottley, whom he said led the grouping brilliantly, especially in spearheading talks with international financial institutions. Dr. Gonsalves said he will continue to work closely with the Barbados Prime Minister as he sees her playing an invaluable role in his chairmanship.
The strengthening of our region's resilience against multiple vulnerabilities, the building of a better, more equal, more inclusive global order in full recognition of a properly articulated small state exceptionalism and the further upliftment of our Caribbean civilization in every material particular within our region and in our interface with others in our hemisphere, the developing world, the major economies, and the global institutions.
Thanking PM Gonsalves and other colleagues for their support, the Barbados Prime Minister said that she would like to see the region working together for the betterment of all its citizens.
Together to be able to achieve that which we can do to make the best opportunities possible for Caribbean people. We must make Caribbean people global citizens, but anchored by Caribbean roots. I look forward to working with you, Comrade Chairman Ralph. I look forward to working with other colleague heads of government. We know that this is a difficult time, and I want to say farewell to Comrade President Bouterse, who has served well as a brother in arms over the course of the last few years, and to thank him or to ask for commiserations for handing me the chairmanship of this community at this very difficult and complex and challenging time. We will continue to stay the course and to make this region the best region that it can be, standing for rights, standing for principles, and standing most importantly for opportunity and prosperity for our people.
6 airlines have expressed interest in serving the gap that could be left in the wake of LIAT's current challenges. They include SVG Air, One Caribbean, Caribbean Airlines, CAL, Inter-Caribbean Airlines, Silver Airways, and Air Antilles. The pressing issue of regional air travel was discussed today at the virtual handing over ceremony of the chairmanship of CARICOM to Prime Minister Gonsalves. Dr. Gonsalves says the challenge placed upon the Caribbean with respect to regional air transportation is one in the region's hands to solve. As chair of the transportation portfolio in the CARICOM quasi-cabinet, Dr. Gonsalves says he has already been in touch with several airlines, the principal ones being CAL, Inter-Caribbean Airlines, One Caribbean, and SVG Air.
That we are going to be able to provide in a very short time a sufficiency of regional transport to serve this sub-region, to serve ourselves safely, reliably, sustainably, and reasonably priced. I want to give that assurance to the people of the Caribbean community. Colleagues, we cannot fight the future and its requisites, nor look forward to the past, however nostalgic that may be.
Meanwhile, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley also confirmed that several airlines have come forward since announcements were made about Liat's demise. She says while Liat has been a critical part of the region's history in allowing Caribbean people to move, the airline is challenged.
There also is a time when those instruments that served us well in the past may not be the right instruments for us going forward. And to that extent, the board of directors, because of the heavy debt which Liat has been carrying, not now, but for many, many years, have indicated to us that it is no longer possible to trade as Liat 1974 Limited, and that in truth and in fact, the company is effectively insolvent and that it needs liquidation. They would have done so conscious of the fact that unless you liquidate an insolvent company, directors will be guilty of fraudulent trading. And to that extent, as shareholder governments, we have had to respond simply because to do otherwise would mean providing a level of funding that we simply do not have at this time in the affairs of our community and in the affairs of our nations.
Prime Minister Mottley says government's commitment remains to providing safe, reliable, affordable air travel within the Eastern Caribbean. The Barbados PM says she is satisfied that the 6 airlines that have come forward will be able to fill the immediate gap, particularly given the reduced travel during the COVID-19 pandemic.
We come to this moment not because there is pleasure in coming to this moment. We come to this moment as a matter of practical reality that governments must focus on keeping their citizens alive. Governments must focus on keeping their economies going. And if that focus can allow others to come on board and to be able to help us carry the weight, well, my people in Barbados would tell you that I live by the mantra, many hands make light work.
She adds heads of government will have also agreed that those countries that are in a position to help stimulate air travel through the reduction of airline taxes should immediately reflect and see how they could do so. One Caribbean, a Vincentian charter airline, has added 3 new travel routes with immediate effect to help fill the void of intra-regional travel left by Liat due to its current position. The first flight out of SVG is slated for July 12th. Reservations manager for One Caribbean, Sharian Graves, told SVG-TV News today that Prime Minister Gonzalez met with the airline's manager and asked them to add more flights to their schedule. Graves said currently there is a high demand for intra-regional travel, particularly connecting flights with international airlines, especially out of Barbados.
There's also St. Lucia in that loop as well. So there's St. Lucia, Grenada, and Barbados. That's what the demand is right now. Most of the calls and the requests that we're getting are from those destinations, or to and from those destinations. For the first destinations we're going to be flying would be to St. Lucia and Barbados. We have plans to go to other destinations. However, we need to be as careful as possible as in when we're implementing certain infrastructures to these countries. For example, Trinidad, maybe St. Kitts, say maybe Suriname, Antigua. We're trying to go as far as possible, but it's a timely thing, and we have, through due diligence, we will have to make it go.
One Caribbean is hoping to add 3 more planes to its current fleet so as to serve more regional destinations. As it relates to airfare, Graves said they are working to meet the financial position of their customers, noting that airfares start from $90 plus taxes.
Costs depends on the tax regime, meaning certain countries have certain inbound and outbound taxes. Now, St. Vincent has taken the lead to cut those taxes by 50%. So the departed taxes out of St. Vincent are now $20 US. St. Lucia has also followed by cutting theirs into half as well. It's now $36 outbound taxes. I know the other countries are in discussion for that as well. So we are actually waiting for the notification of those changes.
Graves said the airline is also ensuring that all staff and passengers follow the health guidelines and protocols in light of COVID-19.
One Caribbean has 3 aircrafts in our fleet. We have 2 Sabs, which is a 30-seater, and we have a Beach 19, that's a 18-seater. At the moment, we have implemented a current HSC policy for all aircrafts for passengers upon arrival and disembark in the aircraft.
Opposition MP for Central Kingstown, Major Sinclair Leacock, says urgent action is needed to address the country's crime situation, that should be crime rate and unemployment level. Leacock was speaking at a virtual meeting hosted by the NDP.
That has to be solved in the St. Vincent and the Grenadines today, as we know it, is that vexing question of the ridiculously high levels of unemployment that pervades the land. And unemployment is not a standalone phenomenon. It leads to social deviance. In my own constituency, I'm pained and I'm numbed by the number of young people who every other week have to be a loss of life, a gun shooting, because politics and government have failed them. We have come forward with simple, clear ideas of how we can put more people back to work.
Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday says that his party has a plan that would create more jobs and invest in the nation's youth, which will in turn help to reduce the crime rate.
We want to create a country where everyone who wants to work can work. This is particularly so for the young people. And we have a plan to create jobs, to create a prosperous St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have a plan to invest in our infrastructure, to invest in agriculture, as Patel mentioned, to invest in new businesses, to invest in our most precious resource, our people.
Meanwhile, opposition MP for West Kingstown, Daniel Cummings, said there is a need for a big change in the management of healthcare resources in the country.
Biggest change we have to make in the area of health is management of our resources. We have to look at the structure that delivers health care. We have to look at the people that deliver health care and the mechanisms. We have to take it away from the civil service type and recruit the right people in the right environment to ensure that they function in a business-like environment. But as we always say, business-like, yes, but with a heart and a compassion for the people of this country.
3 buildings in Kingstown are being rehabilitated to accommodate at least 260 vendors as part of the efforts by the government to clean up the capital by removing all vendors off the streets. Minister of Transport and Works Julian Francis explained to SVG-TV News that the markets are likely to be opened by the end of the month.
The one up on the customs long room, the one at where the old vegetable market was, that was destroyed in 2010 by Hurricane Thomas, and the building at the back on the waterfront that is up to last week currently was being used as the temporary meat market. So those butchers have located, and we have started gutting that building. In total, we're going to have about 260 stalls. These are not for new vendors.
Mr. Francis noted that vendors will soon be informed of which building they will be relocated to, with a strong word of advice for them not to return to the streets.
To take the congested areas in particular, those areas that are congested, there are more than 260 vendors in Kingstown, and we will identify the areas with the largest clusters and the most those areas that are most obstructive to pedestrian traffic and vehicular traffic. And the spaces that are cleared on the streets where we are moving these vendors from will not be filled by new vendors.
Some vendors told our news team, which was carried in a previous newscast, that they welcomed the move as the conditions on the streets are sometimes worrying. Telecommunications company Flow says it has been able to transform the way in which it delivers its services by bringing a more simplified product to serve all of its customers. Their customers' telecom needs under one umbrella. Speaking at a news conference today, Flow country manager Wayne Hull said Flow has combined broadband TV, fixed line, broadband, fixed line, TV and mobile into a single product and on a single bill, which will offer far more benefits to all customers.
As part of this move, we have offered increased value to our customers by restructuring our mobile postpaid plans with even greater values and benefits on the fastest LTE network in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Starting with our small postpaid plan, this plan now includes a whopping 15 gigabits of mobile LTE data, 2,000 anyway local calls, that calls you can use for any network, 2,000 anywhere SMS messaging. We also gave you 250 minutes and 100 international minutes to also connect with families and your friends abroad.
Later this evening, the company will host an online show featuring two of the nation's top soca artists, Fireman Hooper and Skinny Fabulous. Hull said that the show was set up to honor the contributions of the two artists to SVG's premier cultural festival, Vincy Mas, which Flow has been a part of for years. Vincy Mas was cancelled this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the telecommunications company has found a way to embrace the carnival culture.
Flow, we identify with culture, and Vincy Mas, we have always been for many years a big partner with Vincy Mas, and we found it important to keep that partnership going and to keep that culture alive in the absence and the void that has been created with no Vincy Mas in 2020. And I think we felt that there's no greater way to honor these two artists because of the contribution they continue to make to the art form and to the culture of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And these two guys, we're just doing it, bringing it together in a big way and celebrate culture, celebrate their legacy that they have built up so far. So it's something that we hold there. Culture is part of our way of giving back to St. Vincent.
Police have arrested and jointly charged Shafiel Moore, a 27-year-old mason, and Mikeli Kolzak, a 24-year-old painter, both of New Montrose, with possession of unlawful firearm and ammunition. According to investigations, the accused men allegedly had in their possession one Ruger P85 MK11 9mm pistol, along with 3 rounds of 9mm ammunition without a license issued under the Firearms Act. The defendants appeared before the Serious Offences Court to answer to the charges and pleaded not guilty. They were granted bail in the sum of $12,000 each with one surety and ordered to surrender all travel documents and report to the Central Police Station weekly. The matter was adjourned to September 9th. Meanwhile, the police have arrested and charged Orandi Harry, a 37-year-old laborer of Belmont, with grievous bodily harm. According to reports, officers from the Caliacqua Police Station responded to a domestic violence dispute in Belmont on Wednesday, July 1st. On arrival at the scene, officers approached the residence when the accused allegedly, unlawfully and maliciously inflicted grievous bodily harm on a 24-year-old police officer by throwing hot oil on his body. Harry is expected to appear before the Serious Offences Court to answer to the charge.